It's been about 40 years that the no fare bus pass has been available to low-income, disabled, and the low-income elderly. And Ripta and all the people who worked for that service are proud of that fact, or should be proud of that fact, for 40 years. To go back on that now just raises the question of what we as a community and what this board as responsible officials who have to make a decision, and then of course the governor and the legislature, where are their priorities? Pope Francis has been pointing out again and again and again that the least of us, the poorest of us, the ones who are struggling, the sickest of us, the ones who are struggling the most, the ones who have been marginalized and victimized and thrown on the trash heap. Pope Francis has been saying, these are the ones who need our caring, our responsibility, our love, our energy, our wits, more than anyone else. When you're in love, you go to all sorts of extreme efforts to take care of the one you love. And Pope Francis is saying the least are the ones who should get the fullness of our love. If we want to be human, if we want to be persons, if we want to be proud of ourselves, if we do harm to those who are the least, we do harm to ourselves. We're doing harm to ourselves, to our dignity as persons.
Thank you.
Thank you. If Henry Shelton were not severely disabled, sitting at his home with a stroke, he would be here today. And he is the most dogged and determined fighter for poor people that I know. But the point is that he never took on himself the responsibility that only the poor people themselves have. So Henry, in 1975, with Mike Baudet, helped to organize an effort where the poor people, the elderly people, the disabled people established such a threat to the legislature. They did it themselves with the help of Henry and Mike Baudet. So that on the last day of the legislative session in 1975, the president, the majority leader of the Senate, passed a bill because Mike Baudet had threatened to pass the word around to all the elderly and disabled in the state to vote against a particular bond referendum which would have raised millions of dollars for transportation in the state. So that message got to the majority leader, who got the bill passed in the Senate, and then he walked over to the House and handed it to the Speaker in the House and got it passed. He stayed there until it was passed, and then on to the governor, and it was signed. So that was all done on the strength of the reality of the elderly themselves and the disabled themselves, pushing. And that's the same thing happened in the 90s when we got the removal of the time period, the rush hour, when you could not use your pass. So it was because of the elderly and disabled who fought with Constantino and the governor and the majority, etc. So that's all I'm saying is, for 40 years we've had this assistance that the elderly and disabled themselves fought for and won. And they're not going to let go of this.
That's right.
It's the strength of these people here.
Right.
I'm just a loudmouth.
That's right, brother.